How do you bond somebody out of jail? My name is Brian L. Jackson. I'm a Tulsa criminal attorney with the Worth Law Office, and I want to talk about how to bond somebody out of jail. So, generally speaking, if you get arrested for a crime in Oklahoma, you will be held pursuant posting of some kind of a bond. It's usually a monetary bond, and usually a surety is fine. Now, the process for getting somebody out of jail, if there's a bailing somebody out of jail, is basically, the simplest is usually you call a professional bondsman and have them go to the jail with you, and they can go in, sign the appropriate paperwork to post the bond, and then the person is going to be released. Now, the typical rule with that is you have to pay 10% down on the bond. So, for example, if there's a $1,000 bond, you need about $100 to make that work. Now, some bondsmen will work with you on that, and it's sort of a business decision on their part how they want to deal with that. But that's pretty typical. Is you have to have 10%. If you are bonding somebody out and it's a cash-only bond, then you cannot work with a bondsman. You have to actually have the cash. Cash bonds basically or cash or property just means exactly what it says. You have to have the cash, or you have to post property as collateral for appearance. Where you see cash bonds more is like with a property or with like a body attachment, which is basically a type of bench warrant if you fail to show up for an asset hearing or things like that. Cash bonds are not as common in criminal practice, although they do happen. But that's the essentials about how you bond somebody out. Most bondsmen, by the way, are open 24 hours. So even if you get arrested at some weird ass hour, assuming that a bond is available on the warrant or on the they issue a bond on the probable cause affidavit, then you can bond a person out immediately, even if the courthouse is closed. But there's some types of offenses where there will not be an initial bond, like, for example, domestic violence offenses, and you have to wait until there's a bail hearing, and then you can post bond. Also, another thing to be aware of is when you bond someone out, there will be a court date given. That's the date for the initial arraignment, and that person needs to make sure that they keep track of that date, because if you don't show up, you're going to get another warrant, you wind up back in jail again, they yank your bond. So you want to pay attention to that, and you want to pay attention to if there's any conditions of bond, like, for example, a no contact order where you can't contact the victim. Sometimes they'll tell you can't be in possession of any weapons. They may tell you can't drink if you, like, say you get busted for DUI. So you got to pay attention to those conditions, because if you violate a condition of your bond, you go back to jail. So that's kind of how bond works. And if you are needing to bond somebody out, or you're dealing with a criminal matter, you need good counsel. And one place you can find good counsel is at makelawEasy.com. Thanks, guys.